Subaru has just dropped the new 2024 Crosstrek, and I think it's a really good upgrade when it comes to design, both in the interior and of course the exterior as well. And we're going to talk about both. I'm going to compare, as you know, the front, side, rear, and also the interiors between the previous generation and the new I think it's a facelift, or maybe it's a brand new one. I'm not 100% sure. First of all, let's have a look at some of the spec and tech of the new Subaru here. So you have the base, premium, sport, and limited trim levels. Its MSRP starting price is $24,995, and that's exactly the same base price as the outgoing model. If we talk about the wheels, you have two different options. You have the 17-inch alloy wheels, while the pricier sport and limited versions have 18-inch wheels. I'm gonna link this entire article from Newsweek in the description below if you want to go and check this out. When it comes to power, you have a base 152 horsepower engine and 145 pound-feet of torque. It's still the 2-liter 4-cylinder boxer engine, and you also have the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder in the sport and limited that gives you 182 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. Not crazy numbers, but still, I don't think that really is what the Crosstrek is about. It's about capability for a very good value. The thing with the new one, though, that kind of is a little bit sad is that it only comes with a CVT transmission. Last year, they offered the 6-speed manual, as you can see in the Crosstrek, but now every single new 2024 Crosstrek will only come with an automatic transmission. A little bit sad, but they do offer some paddle shifters for manual mode. Still not the same as a proper manual though, but what can you do? What makes the Crosstrek stand out from this competition is the standard all-wheel drive and the well-known Subaru safety features that are standard in the Crosstrek. And on the interior, you have either a 7-inch high-resolution touchscreen, two of them actually in the base trim levels, and then you have the premium, the upgrade, the option of the 11.6-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, which I think is great because personally I hate plugging in the USB in my phone every time I want to use the Apple CarPlay. Production of the 2024 will be done in the Indiana plant, and it will go on sale this summer. So let's jump into Photoshop here and let's see what's going on with this new Crosstrek, the comparison between the old one and the new one. So up here we have the 2023 model year, and down here we have the brand new 2024. I think they did a good job modernizing the front end and making it look more in line with the rest of the lineup. This looks pretty generic to me, this design. You can't really tell what brand this is if we just remove the Subaru badge in the middle. It's very hard to tell because there is not really a lot of identifiers in the front end of the car. And overall, the Crosstrek has never really been a beautiful car. It's a functional car and a good value, but when it comes to beautiful car design, I wouldn't call this, you know, a top 10 contender. But I think the new one, the front face, looks more elegant, and it has more of a graceful graphic feature in the front end, which is this line that goes from the one side and then connects in the grille with this bar and then goes into the headlights, and it looks like we have an LED right here, so that creates some brand identity for the Subaru, which I think is great. And I'm not a huge fan of this plastic cladding that goes up and intrudes in the bumper, sticking up like I don't know what. It doesn't feel like it's integrated well in the front end, because we have a round feature down here with the fog light, and then you have this yellow piece in the middle of this interesting outline or shape silhouette that we have sticking up in the bumper. But I guess it does have some function, because if you go and hit some rocks, some branches, some trees, it's gonna protect the front end, having those big bulky plastic pieces in the front end. Overall, great facelift or upgrade for the Crosstrek in the front. Looking at the side, we have the same kind of, I don't know if I can call it a problem or issue, but something that I wish they would have done here on both the old one and the new. Actually, they did a little bit better in the new one, I think, because the plastic cladding on the old one up here looks like it ends here, and then we have more body panels sticking out into the very end of the fender, And I want to have this going all the way down, just like I said with the, I think it was the Lexus we talked about, the RZ EV. So fill these areas in with some plastic cladding and just have it go all the way around. I think that's gonna give it a more solid look, and it's just gonna feel like the weight of the car is better balanced graphically, having those areas filled in. So let's have a look at the shoulder line. If we can find it here in this Subi, we have one shoulder line here, then we have a third one over there. The new one looks like they redesigned the shoulder lines as well. We have one crease here, I think it looks like some sort of crease. Then we have a very subtle, not sharp, pretty smooth shoulder going into this chamfer in the rear. Looks pretty good. And we also have this a similar chamfer in or shoulder in the front end over the front fenders or over the front axles, kind of similar to the previous generation. But have a look at this. The plastic cladding in the front end of the old one, as I said, it was cut right here. Now it actually continues at least a little bit, so it's not body color all the way to the end here. We now have at least a little bit of plastic, even though it gets thinner here than it does up here. I want to have the same kind of thickness going into this front piece and fill this up to make it look even more rugged. But this looks pretty cool. I think it feels like they had some fun styling these parts, because they don't really follow the exact outline of the fenders, and I think it's a fun little detail on the new Crosstrek. I'm glad that they put the yellow graphics that we have in the front end, that they come back here. It kind of makes it a bit more acceptable to have those in the front end when you have them in the side, and also they come back in this big bumper, rugged bumper that sticks out pretty far in a side view in the back, specifically compared to the previous generation where it's almost flush with the bodywork. This feels like it got a lot more rugged, which is a good thing because a lot of people who buy this go actually use them off-road. I see them off-roading all the time here in Colorado. So I guess it is a very capable little package, this Crosstrek. Not sure if these wheels are the 17 or the 18, I can't see. I think this is the top trim level, so this is probably the 18s. Not a huge fan of these wheel designs. I think the old ones looked better than these kind of turbine looking things. But for once, I think it looks decent in black, having the wheels in black. So looking at the rear view, and same thing here that we have in the front view, we have a clear upgrade of the brand identity of specifically the taillights of the car. But I'm not sure if I prefer this bumper over the previous generation. This looks a little cleaner in my opinion, having this line cutting horizontally in the black graphics. Now we have this huge angle in the graphics and it looks a little messy to me. But again, the Crosstrek has always been a pretty messy car, so maybe it suits this design. I do like that we have a black diffuser now in contrast to the body color diffuser that we have in the previous generation. And the taillights, look at these taillights. These looks very dated, looks like they could be from early 2000s maybe. But now it looks like we have full LED taillights in the new Crosstrek, which I really like. I think it looks great, and it also updates the design by a lot, just having LEDs instead of light bulbs, or these are probably LEDs too, but they're separate dots like this. One thing about this new Crosstrek that I really like is the color. I think this dark military forest color looks really nice. I'm not a huge fan of this yellow. I'm not sure why I picked the yellow to pick in this comparison, but this new color in combination, actually, the more I look at it from different angles, I think these yellow pieces make up, they do have a purpose in this design. It kind of add a little bit of a splash of color in the bodywork. Last but not least, let's have a look at the interior. Up top we have the old one, downstairs we have the brand new 2024 one with the 11.6 I believe inch touchscreen with the Apple CarPlay, wireless, and Android Auto as well. Looking really cool. I do like the stitching that we have in the previous generation going down here. This interior still feels pretty modern, and what I like about the Crosstrek, the new 2024, in the interior is that they kept almost the exact same gauge cluster. I do believe that these are even still analog. I'm pretty sure they're analog, and I don't mind that because we still have a screen in the middle which you can configure and gives you all the information you need, toggle between whatever you want, tire pressure, fuel economy, and then you have the two main gauges, the speedometer and the tachometer, being analog. I think that still works in a 2024 model, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, looking here, we have a manual transmission. In the new one, it only comes with the super boring and not so so fun CVT gearbox. Maybe they've become better over time, I don't know. Every single CVT I've driven, it just feels weird because I don't know, it doesn't give me a very enthusiastic response from a CVT gearbox. Steering wheel looks the same. I think it's the same steering wheel as we have in the old generation. The button seems to be in the exact same spots. We do have a new design in this area though on the new 2024. I think this looks good as well. Looks maybe a little stripped down. This looks simpler than the previous generation. I think I prefer this styling over the new 2024 one down here, even though they both look pretty good and still both look pretty modern as well. Even though it only comes with a automatic transmission, I still think the Crosstrek is going to sell really well because it is, after all, a very good value.